Hi guys, I'm Dan. Today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between making applications through NHS Jobs and making applications through an agency. I'll talk to you about the pros and cons of both and how both work. Okay, so your first option for applying for jobs in the UK is to use NHS Jobs, BMJ Jobs or Health Jobs UK. These are all the portals that the NHS use to advertise their own vacancies directly to applicants. That's applicants from the UK and also from overseas. So all applications will be considered through those if you want to make them directly with chosen hospitals. The second route is to apply via an agency. So if you wanted to apply via an agency, you need to identify which agency you want to work with, hopefully BDI resourcing, and send them through your CV. They'll then shortlist jobs according to your preferences. So it saves you trawling through all of the job applications and making individual applications to each. The agency will do that for you. Okay, so first of all, the advantages of applying directly through NHS, BMJ Jobs, any of the job site websites. First thing to note is that the application process is fairly simple to apply through NHS Jobs. You pretty much simply upload a CV to the jobs that you're interested in. So it is a pretty straightforward process for you to follow. You'll have access to a big long list of jobs. You can search by your specialism, you can filter out by your grade, you can even choose areas of the country that are most interesting to you. So it is quite an easy to navigate system. It's also quite easy to access information about those hospitals. So each will have an employer profile, there'll be job descriptions attached, person specifications attached. So there's a wealth of information there and it is quite easy to use and simple to navigate. Okay, so the disadvantages, the downsides of applying directly to hospitals through NHS or BMJ Jobs. The major one is the time that it can take to get feedback on your CV. So if you apply through NHS Jobs, BMJ Jobs, you're going to be one of perhaps 50, maybe even 100 applicants to that job. And it does take a long time for those job adverts to close and then for consultants or senior registrars or whoever the appointing officers are to make decisions on those CVs. So actually the shortlisting process is quite long and it does take a very, very long time for NHS trusts to come back to you. Aside from that, you don't actually know at the time of applying whether the hospital have made the resident labour market tests at that stage. So have they advertised a job for 28 days and are they then able to go out to international doctors like yourselves? This is something that obviously you would really want to know, because if you're applying in the first round of recruitment and you're sending through your CV, going to lots of effort applying for a job, then actually finding out that it's only the first time advertising and they've got to take preferential treatment to EU or UK doctors, you may miss out that way. If you are shortlisted though and you do apply for the right job that's met resident labour market test, you might be invited to interview. All of that would have to be arranged by yourself and via a HR department. Obviously HR departments are incredibly busy. They're not just dealing with your one application, they're dealing with perhaps tens of different applications and multiple doctors for each of those. So it can take a long time for HR departments to actually get back to you with information you might need or with interview times and dates and all that kind of thing. An agency obviously can do that on your behalf. I guess finally, the bit that you don't get the assistance of an agency with when you apply directly is the kind of post-offer stage. So any negotiations that you might want to take place, perhaps your salary, or there may be queries about your rota or the working hours or whatever it might be. An agency can assist with that, but if you're applying directly, you are liaising directly with a HR department who, well, I'm sure they'd be perfectly capable of doing that, but it's just that you would have to deal with them directly, and those communication channels can get lost with so many applicants to single jobs. Okay, so the advantages of applying through an agency, again, I hope that agency is BDI resourcing. The first is that any jobs that we send to you, or any jobs that any agency send to you, should hopefully have already met the resident labour market test. They should have been advertised for the requisite amount of time, and it's only at that stage that a trust would come to us with a vacancy to send across to you. So you can rest assured that you won't be wasting your time applying in the first round and then losing out to EU or UK doctors. The second part is that we'll give you the best chance of getting through the selection process. So we might be able to give you bits of advice on your CV, for example. We could polish up certain areas of your CV, provide accompanying information. So if there's things around your personal situation or particular reasons that you want to get across that perhaps wouldn't come across in a direct application through a job portal, we can actually communicate that to a department directly rather than via a HR or via an online portal. We will obviously also help you with your interview preparation. So we'll arrange a Skype interview for you, set the times, we'll do Skype connection tests beforehand, speak to you ahead of the day to let you know what kind of questions to expect, if there's any relevant questions that you should ask them, any information that you might possibly need ahead of your interview. I think one thing that's really important is that not all vacancies will be advertised on NHS Jobs or BMJ Jobs at any given time. That might seem quite surprising, but actually there's a hell of a lot of jobs out there that are currently being filled by agency locums, for example, or perhaps they've already been out to advert 2 or 3 times unsuccessfully and are still waiting for the right applicant. However, they're not continuously advertised online because of course it costs the NHS to advertise those posts. So going to an agency, you may see access to jobs that you don't always see on NHS Jobs or on BMJ Jobs, so you're giving yourself perhaps an even better chance of securing a post. Following on from the interview process, if you are successful and you do get an offer, of course you'll then get the support of an agency to assist you with your Tier 2 visa, your certificate of sponsorship, with relocation to the UK, with all aspects of your relocation, so finding schools for your children or perhaps helping with your family's accommodation, whatever it might be. And again, you can rest assured that at BDI Resourcing we offer a truly red carpet service when it comes to that. Okay, so the disadvantages of using an agency, and there are a few, they generally revolve around the fact that some agencies are good and some are really bad. So it's important to choose the right agency. If you choose the right agency, there generally aren't that many disadvantages at all. If you choose the wrong agency, however, you may be limiting your options. There are agencies out there that don't work with that many hospitals, so you'll find yourself put forward to perhaps 1 or 2 hospitals that aren't necessarily that great, and you'll then find yourself limited to those options and perhaps under pressure to accept those options by those agencies. You should be going to an agency that give you as many options as possible, have access to as many options as possible. The other side, which an agency sometimes can't help with, is when it comes to the more oversubscribed posts. So it tends to be more junior doctor posts that receive multiple applications when direct application stage happens. So the way the NHS work is that they'll use their own mechanisms first of all, and obviously they'll want to advertise and fill without the need to go to an agency and to pay an agency fee. So they'll advertise those first. Now, if, for example, you're applying for an FY2 position, at that stage the hospital may receive 50 or 60 applications and they simply don't need the help of an agency. So agencies don't always have access to those jobs that are perhaps more oversubscribed, and they may be the ones that you want to go for. That said, the more high-level niche positions out there, they will have excellent access to. So it just depends what your personal situation is as well. The first thing I would note is that you should work with an agency who ideally are part of a national framework. That's very important, and BDI Resourcing have just been awarded to the major framework for international permanent recruitment, so we are a very valued partner to the NHS in that sense. Look for the credentials of an agency, look for any awards that they might have won. Again, BDI Resourcing have very recently won one of the National Best New Business Awards. So again, we're an excellent partner for you to team up with when it comes to your applications. Look at the team, look at the people that you're going to be working with. What's their background? What's their experience? In our office, we've got over 40 years of medical recruitment experience between our team. We're split off into subspecialist divisions, so you'll have a dedicated recruiter for each area of, say, medicine, emergency medicine, radiology, surgery. There are several agencies out there that just focus on one of these. So why would you go to an agency that maybe have a big say in emergency medicine, but don't really do anything with any other agency, any other areas of recruitment in the NHS? There are a number of those out there. So yeah, choose very, very carefully. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope this has been helpful. If you do decide that you want to use an agency or you want to give a try to an agency, then obviously BDI Resourcing would be the choice that we'd like you to make. So feel free to get in touch. Gabrielle's going to put all of the contact details up on the screen so that you can send us an email or give us a call to get in touch. Thanks very much. Bye.